21 Grams is the first English-language film by Alejandro González Iñárritu, the Academy Award-nominated director, Amores Perros. The title refers to the amount of weight a body loses at the moment of death. Joining me now are the director who co-wrote the screenplay with Miguel Arriaga and two of the film's stars, Melissa Leo and Benicio Del Toro. I am pleased to have all of them at this table. Let me just start off and tell me about the idea for this film.
The idea, what's behind that?
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of things, you know, generally I think it's, I always has been obsessed by the free will of man, I think, and that's what...
Free will.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes, you know, God, you know, destiny or whatever we want to call, you know, send us some things that happen beyond our understanding, but at the same time we can confront that with our decisions. And where that line, I always remember since I was a kid, that I always discuss with some Catholic people that want to teach me some morals and ethics. Say, well, but if God knows everything, why Judas exists? You know what I mean? That was written.
Yes, exactly.
No, but he has the free will to not betray Jesus and say, well, but he did it because Jesus tell him. So when is that line when you really are your own architecture of your destiny, and how, when is that written, you know? And I think both films, Amores Perros and 21 Grams, explore the same. And I think with Guillermo Arriaga, who wrote this beautiful thing, and we discussed in the beginning that, you know, that particular thing, moment of life, when really things are written and when we construct that to happen, you know, and what we can do about it.
The car accident. There's both a car accident in this film, and there's also a car accident that's central to Amores Perros.
Yes.
What's that? I mean, are you...
Well, I think
are these linked?
Well, I think I think car accidents are basically, I think, the second or third reason of more human deaths in the world, I think. So that's our payments as human beings to use technology or to feel that we are gods using technology. So we pay it. You know, that's the cost.
Right.
But I think that as the most common accident, let's say, for me, just the car accidents means metaphorically that our life really are a lot of accidents that happen. We don't connect it because our mind sometimes is very narrow, but everything that is happening now will affect me tomorrow, or that the things that I'm saying now or will do tonight, it will affect people. So, you know, the accident or meeting one guy in a corner one day means that can change your life. We use that as a dramatic element.
Other than working with him and a good screenplay, what attracted you to this?
The cast.
Cast.
Yeah, I think the
Naomi,
cast.
Naomi,
Sean, Melissa Leo, well, everybody, and you know, even the little parts. But for the most part, it was Sean, Naomi. When I met with Alejandro, he told me that Sean was already committed to play one of the roles.
But you didn't know which one?
For me, it was a tough one.
Really?
Yeah.
He might have played Benicio's role.
I think Benicio can play perfectly Paul too, and I
too.
think naturally Sean can play Jack. You know?
I didn't know that. I just found out this moment. So,
would you have, knowing that, would you have preferred to play the other role?
No, it's that whole thing. If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. You know, it's like it really doesn't work with me. But it was great to get a role like this, and I think I'm very happy with my role. But would have been great.
Have you seen a lot of good parts since you won the Oscar for Traffic?
You know, movies are made with a team. There are very many. There are variables that come to play to make a good movie, and not many, to be honest with you. But I'm very picky, and this one was one that came my way, and it was like, okay,
right cast,
interesting
story,
and a director that I like his work.
But is it different working with him because of the way he tells a story? I mean, this is no straight narrative that you're dealing with here. And does that affect the way you perform and the way you craft your character?
It affects the way I see the movie, not necessarily the way I perform, because when we shot it, we had a script that it was pretty much in chronological order.
Yeah.
So I work the same way. It's his job to capture it, you know, and it's the job of the director and the editor to put it together. But what is different is when I see the final product, it's a little bit different because of the structure, of the structure that Alejandro and Guillermo, you know, have, that the script had.
This is a great relationship the two of you have, isn't it?
Guillermo. Yeah. It's like a good marriage. You know?
Is that right?
You know, you fight and then you love the next day.
When did you first, we're talking about the screenwriting, when did you first meet him?
In 96.
Before you were making movies, when you were doing commercials? Or?
Yes, I was doing commercials. I did a pilot for TV, and then I did some theater in Mexico too.
Weren't you a disc jockey too for a while in Mexico?
Yeah, I have a show 3 hours daily, you know. I was the director of this, you know, rock and roll radio station, so I did, you know, exactly entertaining people 3 hours, creating characters and doing things.
But you tell stories differently than most directors I know, don't you? Wouldn't you agree with that, Melissa?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, I've seen the movie twice. And you said to me, how was it the second time? It's better and more interesting because, A, you sort of know what's coming, and so you've experienced it, and so you can get more out of it the second time. Yeah. What do you want somebody to feel, because it's the juxtaposition of time, you're a little dazzled by it, and you don't quite know what's happening at what moment. It's hard to say this to an audience at home. I've never seen anything like it. Have you, Benicio?
No. Well, I've read it.
Yeah.
Faulkner used to write
That's where they say
like that.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
I mean, and Guillermo, the writer, talks a lot about Faulkner.
Faulkner is a crucial
for
inspirator
for me, Faulkner I like a lot, but for me, you know, since I was a kid, you know, reading all the Latin American literature, like Cortázar, Borges, you know, even Sabato, Juan Rulfo, all those guys really play with time amazingly and talk with the dead people. You know what I mean? They don't care about they are not making journalist pieces. They are making just an atmosphere. So I'm very used to that since I was a kid. And then the European films did that. You know,
the European films.
Yeah, Hiroshima Mon Amour. You know, Alain Resnais did that 50 years ago. You know what I mean? And it happens a lot in the 60s. I don't know what happened that suddenly maybe the audience get lazier or more lazy and they just want to be informed. But I think...
But you want the audience to work and to be thinking.
I want that they feel. I think this film, I was more concerned about the emotional order of the facts than the chronological order of the facts. You know, I think
the emotional order of the facts.
Yeah.
The real thing is that it gets you deeper into the character. That's what it accomplishes.
Completely. And it creates dramatic tension and get the people work in emotional working when they have to fill the blanks to get connected with them, I think.
It does work, but you got to work at it to get it.
Of course. I think the film makes that.
It's true with Faulkner, too.
Yeah.
It's also something that is so, I saw in Amores Perros and was part that made me go after to try to get this part and work with this man. It's so suited for what film is. And when we shoot a film, we shoot it out of order all the time.
Right.
And there's something about this film is not just something you hear. It's not just something you see. It's all of those things. And this storytelling, it's like what should be done with film. It's so clear to me. It's amazing.
How did you find out about this?
The same as always of a call from my agent manager that there's an audition, but it was an odd audition. He wanted me to make a videotape about myself, and okay, I went down and I did that, and eventually.
What did you do? You put together.
I went to the video portfolio downtown and paid for a half hour or whatever, and
just talked to the camera.
Talked soup to nuts myself, the highs, the lows, the worst part of my life, which I think got me the job, and sent that out and didn't hear anything for a while. Then they wanted me to put some scenes on tape, but I didn't want to just do that alone in a room. It was too important to me. So eventually I said no, I didn't want to do that, but they eventually sent the casting director, Francine Maisler, who totally my champion in this.
But there's a story that you paid your own way,
and eventually,
out to Los Angeles so that you could see him in person.
Yeah, no, there could, because even after doing the scenes with Francine, clearly there was interest, but it wasn't my part yet.
Yeah.
And I said, I know what has to happen. What has to happen is I have to be in a room with this man, and so I will fly myself out there. Will he see me?
And so you saw her, and then you said, she's perfect?
Yeah, yeah. There's, you know, I knew that she was her. You know what I mean? I think that, and something, you know, originally, Catherine Caltridge will work in her part, and Catherine just suddenly died. This English actress that died, you know, and this was 3 months before the start of shooting, and I was completely panicked, and suddenly I saw Melissa in the tape, and I said, she is the character. You know what I mean? So like, just to see her in the way that I think one of the toughest jobs of my job, one of the most torture processes is casting, because is when I can immediately destroy any script. You know what I mean? I think that's the 80 or 90% of my job, is to find the right spirit to put the flesh in that.
If you do that, you can destroy the script.
One single guy that is miscast, it can destroy everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has been great films that I have a problem with one guy who always is,
because he upsets the balance, or
yeah, you have to find the balance, the spirit, the belief. You know what I mean? And when I met Melissa and I saw that in that tape, I find all the resources and all the things that I was trying to get in that character. So, you know, it was very powerful.
Let me take a look at the scene. Roll tape. Here's one scene from 21 Grams.
The guilt will suck you down to the bone. Stealing ain't worth it. Going to church, reading the Bible, and believing in Jesus, brother, that's your ticket.
We were talking about this young man who's in this scene. Just tell me the story quickly.
No, I was trying to find a boy, you know, the character, and again, these real people in Memphis just show up, and this guy was, Memphis, this line of guys, young guys, and he has, you know, a trouble thing, and I say, okay, guys, you know, wait, sorry, I'm 30 minutes late. How long you can be here? And everybody was like, oh, whatever you need, whatever. And he said, as soon as possible. Really? Yeah, I want to go out from here. So he was so, you know, was so secure and so, and I said, this is the guy. You know, he was playing exactly what we were trying to get.
Yeah. Do you want to direct a film?
I think if I find a story that I want to tell, then yeah.
Is this something you want to do for a while?
There's things, you know, but it's like it's whatever, you know, whatever comes my way. But I right now to direct, you know, there's the Rum Diary, the Hunter S. Thompson book.
Hunter Thompson,
you know, that I'm very interested, but
Right.
we're still working with like the logistics and the lawyers and the things and that.
Yeah, all right. But here's my question. I was leading to the notion: do you watch someone? If you're thinking about that in your head, are you watching Alejandro? Watching? Just one part of you is watching a director saying.
Completely. He's been under my microscope quite a bit. Yeah, and he's terrific. Terrific, and you know, one thing that is, and it's not taking away from him as an artist. It's like he surrounds himself with great actors, and he's allowed to like steer them in the right direction, you know, and that's a gift. You know, it's like it's hard to get talented people because in one room because they all have a little bit of an ego.
Yeah,
you know, if you're talented, you're going to have a little bit of an ego, and you know how to adjust with that and. You know, and deal with that. And he did a terrific job with it, you know.
Yeah. He said casting. I mean, when you look at this cast, did you say, man, this is going to be, even with all of my talent, which...
It was a gigantic opportunity, and if ever there was a time when I felt unsure, it was the few days before shooting in the hotel room in Memphis. Yeah. What am I doing here? And was, you know, called the right people, and they reassured me. Absolutely. You know, and then I got to work on the set, and we were just there working, and that I know how to do. So then I felt more comfortable.
You like appearing in independent films, don't you?
I love it. I think it's what filmmaking
is. It's more real.
Yeah.
Tell me the relationship between the two characters here, because it's almost, here's a guy, prison record, alcoholic in this film. And he's found God, and he's on the road to what?
Basically, I am on the road, you know, when the accident happens, I'm on the road to my birthday.
Yeah.
So I found God. I kind of like trying to keep the family together. It's been 2 years of being like at home for dinner, breakfast, being with the kids, a little bit a sophomore when it comes to
Yeah.
the religion, the born again.
A little bit of
You know, a sophomore, and by that I mean he doesn't understand religion completely. He's at this
Yeah,
point
exactly.
he's black and white. Period.
Yeah.
No grays.
you
Interpretation.
see it with that turn the cheek kind of stuff too,
Right.
don't you?
Right. Exactly. You see it with that, and you see it when he tells the kid, you know, every God knows every piece of your hair.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
God knows when
When a single hair
Hair-
moves on your head.
on your head. When it's
Which is a Bible.
That's another
It's
thing
in the
about
Bible.
it,
It's
yeah.
in the Bible. It's in the Bible. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, I always
Yeah.
knew that line. I remember that I said to him, we have to look for that line because that exists. It's not something that I invent.
Yeah.
I remember that teacher saying
But
that.
your character, it appears, is a little bit happier with the older guy than with the former, because
It's not quite so simple like that, but I think that she knew him, that it was him, and when he was angry, he'd be angry, and when he was loving, he'd be loving, and now he's not himself, and I don't know that she buys that he believes.
she doesn't know that it's genuine.
I don't know. I
authentic.
don't know that it. Yeah, exactly. That and so, but on the other hand, if it's going to keep the family together,
She'll do it.
that's all that matters. I will do anything.
And I think that moment when her character says that thing about, you know, I prefer you, I think it's almost like the heat of the moment.
Yes.
You know, it's like being really, when you get angry in that heat of the moment and you say something that maybe you don't really believe, you know, like,
Yeah.
like when she says, I preferred you even before when you were, you know.
Is she really thinking through
Is she
the
really
black
saying
eye,
that? And
the broken arm?
she just wants to like wake him up and hoping that there's a way to wake him up, and you know, that's the way I see it in the movie. I mean, when I,
think
saw
it,
it,
so much of the dialogue is not only what it sounds like. It's got other things underneath, other truth as well.
Mm-hmm. Roll tape. Here's another scene. 21 grams.
Mommy made the cake. Come look
She
at
did.
the cake, Daddy. Come on, Daddy.
Tell me about the casting kids. I mean, did you do that? I mean, I know you did it, but
Yeah, well, was a girl who was working in Memphis, and she was getting kids from all around there. You know what I mean? Not they weren't from Memphis. They were from
Georgia and
Georgia.
Texas.
Exactly.
so we have this accident, which brings these characters together. What do they share? These three characters. One, Sean, who is a guy waiting for a transplant. The other is Naomi, who is the wife of the guy who he kills in the car, and Benicio. What is it?
For me, is basically they share the feeling of loss.
Loss.
The loss, yeah. The three characters' loss. One is losing or the loss of health. The other is the loss of a
That's Sean.
family member. Yeah, of Naomi.
That's Naomi.
And he's the loss of faith or believe or hope, whatever. You know, their own.
He was
thing.
believing in faith, and
Yeah.
look what happened. Is
Exactly.
that it?
So So
How about guilt?
and they share guilt by different reasons. You know, Sean by receiving that hard that he don't think that he deserves because the family was killed. Benicio obviously because he killed that family and he didn't stay. It's not what I always said as the guilt of the character of Benicio is not about that he killed that he understands that it was an accident. Is that he didn't stand when he can say that. And then obviously Naomi, even that things about Bukowski saying that the man doesn't kill him, he'll help himself by the big things in his life. It's about that you cannot wrap
the
your
little things what he's saying is a poem by Charles Bukowski, which it says like it's the little things that drives you mad, not the big things. It's the little things like not being able to tie your shoelaces, not being able to the little things drive you crazy.
that guilt of Naomi in the kitchen scene, which is I didn't buy her the blue shoelaces. You know, that is killing her. That little things as a mother.
Yeah.
You know, she don't have nothing to do with the accident, but it's just that guilt is something that is killing both of them, all of them. I think.
What do you think they ought to get out of this movie? What makes this movie special?
I think that it's a
Other than
movie
just
that,
actors.
and I've heard this from people actually
Right.
who have gone and seen it, and they want to go home and hug their family and hold their families, and to recognize in each moment what we have, and be here now.
Yeah. Also, it's a film people think about the next day. I mean, I remember my lady was saying after she saw it, the next day, she said, "I'm still thinking about this movie."
Consistent remark about it. And as you said, of seeing it a second time, where you work very hard the first time you see it, in, I think, a wonderful way, in an engaged kind of way, to figure it out. You think one thing about somebody, you learn something more about them, and you feel so bad that you thought that other thing about them. You see it a second time, and the work is a different kind of work. And then what you see is this seamless, flawless storytelling that it is. That the construct is not disguising something, but it is what it is.
And I would like to say something that for me is very important. Some people can say, well, this is a hard film, this is a dark story. And I would say that there's what I try, I don't know if I achieve, but I hope that I did, is to get light and hope and redemption at the end that the people can feel with that light. Because I think as a director, you don't have the right to take people to a black tunnel if you don't know where...
If you don't show them what?
If you don't know where the exit is, you know what I mean? That's very easy, to take people to the ground and put it them and, as Saddam Hussein, close the door and that's it.
Yeah.
No, you have to know where to go out. And I think this film, you know, there's a light that the characters go through, you know what I mean? And I think that's what the audience get. They go out. And I think through that perspective of darkness,
And they
you
go
can
out
have more light.
with what?
I think you get that what Melissa was saying, which is, you know...
Love of family. You want to go hug your family?
But
Or?
no, I think you realize how sometimes we give life for granted, and we want to deny the fact that we will get old, that we are vulnerable to lost things, and we always want to deny that. And I think when you realize that is when you really can enjoy more life, and you say, God, how really, really blessed I am to be alive and have what I have, whatever it is. And that's really, you know, that, and no matter what life goes on, you know that the spirit, the human spirit, is so strong that you find hope no matter what, even in those circumstances. This is what I'm interested in.
Me too. Me too. You know,
I don't want
how bad it gets. There is hope.
Is there?
Yeah. Is that it?
There's
Benicio?
hope. Yeah, absolutely.
One must carry
I think
on.
that every character, I think the hope is achieved when Sean Penn's character, when he stops Naomi Watts from the possibility of becoming a murderer.
Yeah.
Naomi finds out she's pregnant, and she can forgive my character in a very silent moment, and I kind of like go back home.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I had a chance of, you know, my character has a chance of being able to have a second chance of driving someone to the hospital when in need,
Exactly.
and that's Sean's character.
Right.
So I do get a second chance, and I'm in a state of depression through the whole movie, pretty much, as my character is.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Great to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Great to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Will you, in this next film, whatever next film is, make it here? Will you use this distortion of time as well? I mean, is that sort of going to be a trademark of?
I'm very interested to close the triangle by doing a triptych of triptychs, or
right,
a trilogy of
A
triptychs.
trilogy of-
I love the way the fact of parallel times or these circumstances. I think will be a beautiful trilogy in a completely different order. You know, but I would love to close that. I don't know if that will be my next film, but I want to close that chapter.
Yeah, it's great to meet you.
Thank you. The same.
Thank you very
for
much.
inviting me.
21 Grams is the film. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Jack. You know.
I didn't know that. I just found out this moment. So,
Now, would you have, knowing that, would you have preferred to play the other role?
no, it's that old thing. If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. You know, it's like it really doesn't work with me. But it was great to get a role like this, and I think I'm very happy with my role. But would have been great.
Have
to
you
see.
seen a lot of good parts since you won the Oscar for Traffic?
You know, movies are made with a team. There are very many. There are variables that come to play to make a good movie, and not many, to be honest with you. But I'm very picky, and this one was one that came my way, and it was like, okay,
Right, Kat. 21 Grams is the first English-language film by Alejandro González Iñárritu, the Academy Award-nominated director, Maurice Paris. The title refers to the amount of weight a body loses at the moment of death. Joining me now are the director who co-wrote the screenplay with Miguel Arriaga and two of the film's stars, Melissa Leo and Benicio Del Toro. I am pleased to have all of them at this table. Let me just start off and tell me about the idea for this film.
The idea, what's behind that?
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of things, you know, generally I think it's, I always has been obsessed by the free will of man, I think, and that's what...
Free will.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes, you know, God, you know, destiny or whatever we want to call, you know, send us some things that happen beyond our understanding, but at the same time we can confront that with our decisions. And where that line, I always remember since I was a kid, that I always discuss with some Catholic people that want to teach me some morals and ethics. Say, well, but if God knows everything, why Judas exists? You know what I mean? That was written.
Yes, exactly.
No, but he has the free will to not betray Jesus and say, well, but he did it because Jesus tell him. So when is that line when you really are your own architecture of your destiny, and how, when is that written, you know? And I think both films, Amores Perros and 21 Grams, explore the same. And I think with Guillermo Arriaga, who wrote this beautiful thing, and we discussed in the beginning that, you know, that particular thing, moment of life, when really things are written and when we construct that to happen, you know, and what we can do about it.
The car accident. There's both a car accident in this film, and there's also a car accident that's central to Maurice Paris.
Yes.
What's that? I mean, are you?
Well, I think
are these linked?
Well, I think I think car accidents are basically, I think, the second or third reason of more human deaths in the world.
Yeah.
I think so. That's our payments as human beings to use technology or to feel that we are gods using technology. So we pay it. You know, that's the cost.
Right.
But I think that as the most common accident, let's say, for me, just the car accidents means the metaphorically that our life really are a lot of accidents that happen. We don't connect it because our mind sometimes is very narrow, but everything that is happening now will affect me tomorrow, or that the things that I'm saying now or will do tonight, it will affect people. So, you know, the accident or meeting one guy in a corner one day means that can change your life. We use that as a dramatic element.
Other than working with him and a good screenplay, what attracted you to this?
The cast.
Cast.
Yeah, I think the
Naomi,
cast.
Sean,
Melissa Leo, well, everybody, and you know, even the little parts. But for the most part, it was Sean, Naomi. When I met with Alejandro, he told me that Sean was already committed to play one of the roles.
But you didn't know which one?
For me, was a tough one.
Really?
Yeah.
He might have played Benicio's role.
I think Benicio can play perfectly Paul too, and I
too.
think naturally Sean can play